Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1984's Beverly Hills Cop. Before we get started, if you want to reach out to me or Corey on Twitter, follow us there. You could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_Idol. Let's get into Beverly Hills Cop. This film stars Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley, Judge Reinhold as Detective Billy Rosewood, John Ashton as Sergeant Taggart, Ronny Cox as Lieutenant Bogomil, Stephen Berkoff as Victor Maitland, and Lisa Eilbacher as Jenny Summers. So Eddie Murphy had a bit that he did in his stand-up, right? And I believe it was in Delirious when he's talking about Elvis. You know, he could sing his ass off. They put him in movies. He couldn't act.
They said, fuck it, let him sing all his dialogue. They did everything Elvis said. He said, Elvis, we got to win this race. We got to win this race.
But here's the funny thing is what I, in my fucked up head, is I put together, I was like, so many similarities between Elvis and Eddie Murphy in this way. Because it was literally like, Elvis, what do? You sing. So they had him do like 4 lines, and then the rest of it was just fucking him performing.
Right.
These, and especially in this pocket of Eddie Murphy movies, like he was just in just crushing movie after movie in the mid-'80s. So it was literally like, here's the script as a suggestion, but once the camera hits you, do whatever just be Eddie Murphy, make the scene as funny as possible, and then we'll roll credits, and there you go. We'll try to like put a plot around what's going on.
I think that sums this movie up. See you guys next week.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize until, watching this and did a smidge of research, but every scene with him, Judge Reinhold, and John Ashton, they were all improvised. Like there was a script, but they were just like, when those 3 were on camera, they would do so many different takes of each scene, and it was just them improvising, and they used 90% of the improvisation that they did on camera and put that in the movie. So yeah, let's jump into this with both feet, because this is just a great movie. Spoiler alert. So the movie opens with Axel Foley conducting an unauthorized sting operation with a truck full of cigarettes to try to bust these 2 dudes. And the deal gets broken up by some local cops. One dude runs away. The other dude takes the truck, drives through the streets of Detroit trying to lose the cops. And we get this like Grand Theft Auto-esque chase scene with... And I know it was 1984, but like these goofy ass looking old cop cars with like the single light on the top.
Dude, it was such a throwback. They look like they were in France, dude. The scene is so iconic, and like you have the great 80s music bouncing around, you have the cigarette truck, the old cars crashing each other, and this was a lot of this stuff is happening before it was a cliche. Yes. This wasn't just like a normal thing like you see today with these crazy chases and the cop cars crashing and shit. But everything in this is so cinematic. Like you couldn't put this scene on a TV show. Yeah, this scene was made for a movie. On the big screen, like it's just such a good scene and so well shot. Yeah, and it lets you know immediately, like from this point until Mikey gets killed, it is all exposition. They're letting you know who Axel Foley is, where he comes from, what type of cop he is, where everything about him before he sets one foot in California. So that way, once he's in Beverly Hills, you're running with the story now.
Yes. Well, and because after this, it cuts to the police station where Axel gets screamed at by his boss, Inspector Todd, who is just fantastic. And he's basically yelling at him and telling him that, any more unapproved ops and he'll be fired and brought up on charges and yada yada, this, that, and the other. And this was, like you said, this was before this kind of became the super trope that it is now.
Right.
The angry boss and I got the mayor chewing my ass off. And like you said, with the exposition through the cigarette scene, the truck, through this scene, you get an idea without them going like into, like Madam Exposition, where it's just like, well, I'm a really good cop, but I'm really funny too. And
right.
They do it in such a way where it's all paced really well. There's no slow pieces of the exposition. And again, by the time he, gets to California, you already know who he is and what he does. So you're ready for everything.
Right, exactly. You know who Jenny is. He had a background before that was not very law friendly. He is a cop now. He's a good cop. Yep. He's a little over eager. All this shit is all thrown out through very nice storytelling. Where again, like Armando said, it's not like, hello, Axel Foley. Do you remember that time before you were a police officer when we were children, but we were not police officers because we were children and we used to steal things and run little scams because we were kids. We were not police officers yet. But then I got caught and I took the heat for you. So now you're a police officer, but I'm a criminal. None of that existed.
Exactly. No, it was all done in a very natural way. So Axel then gets home to find his ex-con best friend, Mikey Tandino, in his apartment. He's there because he's working for their mutual childhood friend, Jenny. And he also shows Axel some German bearer bonds he quote-unquote borrowed from his employer. And I do have one real quick, don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, friends out there. If you're visiting a friend, you're out of town, you're coming back into town, you're visiting a friend, you go to his apartment, and either, you break in because that's kind of who you are, or the door's open and you walk in. Two things. One, close the door behind you. Don't just willy-nilly walk and leave it open, especially when you know your friend's a cop and he might come in and, I don't know, kill you. That's one. Two, if you break into said dude's apartment and you decide to make yourself a sandwich, make yourself at home, close the fucking refrigerator. What are you, a fucking animal? He has electricity. The lights are on. It's not like you needed the light from the refrigerator to illuminate the fucking kitchen.
Yeah, I know you just got out of jail, but doors still work the same way they did before you went in.
Exactly.
We did not exceed door technology as you knew it. Close the fucking doors.
You're right again.
And this is where I call bullshit, because it's so unbelievable that an Italian and a black dude are friends.
Especially in the 80s.
Well, yeah, because your people are so racist.
What? Hey, fuck you, all right?
I mean, listen, how many movies have we seen where, the main characters are Italians? Typically, it's not a get along kind of thing. But,
no, they're not wearing a do-rag and learning how to dance at any point in an Italian-led movie.
No. They go out drinking, and after a night of drinking, Axel and Mikey return to Axel's apartment. They get jumped by Zach, and Axel gets knocked unconscious. Mikey gets killed after Zach takes the bearer bonds back that he had been carrying with him the entire evening. Like, when they get back to the apartment, he's got like the garbage bag or like the grocery bag with the bearer bonds in it just out, like he's carrying a football.
Yeah, I don't get that. Especially when clearly you're not very good in a fight or quick thinking.
Or tell us something we don't know, motherfucker.
Just put him in a vent or something, dude.
Put him in a drawer in Axel's apartment. You know you're going back. Like,
remember back when airports had lockers?
Yes.
When you made it from LA to Detroit, you should have got a locker and just put that shit in there and left it alone. Airport and bus lockers, for you kids that don't know, used to be the way to get through every illegal thing you were doing. Just hide it in one of those lockers, leave it alone, And it was like a lawless center where you could just like, it was a no-go zone. Like there were no laws. You could do and put contraband in there, whatever. Nobody was going to check it. It was fine.
It's kind of like
terrorists.
It's kind of like being in international waters.
It totally was.
The bus terminal lockers.
They were fantastic. And then the fucking terrorists ruined everything.
After the police respond, Axel asks Inspector Todd to be let in on the case. Todd says no. And Axel then asks for 2 weeks vacation time. We then transition into Axel driving into Beverly Hills and masquerading as a reporter from Rolling Stone magazine and manages to check in a suite at the Beverly Palm Hotel.
And this is where you really get this is the first real glimpse of Axel Foley, because like his undercover work at the beginning and like, come on, man, that's undercover police work. That looked pretty standard. Yeah. But this, where he is just aggressively breaking the law to get himself a hotel room, is one of the best scenes. And it totally sets up his character for the rest of the franchise, not just this movie. The entire franchise is him playing these different characters.
Yeah, no, this scene is fantastic.
Phenomenal.
He goes to see Jenny, his old friend, who works at an art gallery. And after speaking to Serge, played by Bronson Pinchot, he finally gets to see Jenny. And the whole tiny interactions between Bronson Pinchot and Eddie Murphy are brilliantly funny.
Yes.
They're fucking hilarious. And it's literally... I think if you put through the whole franchise, if you put those two scenes, like just them in a scene together throughout the whole franchise, it's maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, maybe at best. They serve no purpose. There's no reason they need to be there other than to show Axel once again as a fish out of water.
Yes.
And how, he's not going to change who he is. And how everybody else just naturally adapts to who he is. With no, I cannot get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. No, I cannot. It's serious because it's very important, base.
Just fantastic comedy, and it served no purpose whatsoever. But I guarantee you that is what 90% of people that watch Beverly Hills Cop remember.
Absolutely. Him and Jenny talk, and he realizes that she works for this international art dealer, Victor Maitland. He tells her that Mikey was killed, and he leaves knowing, where Victor Maitland's office is, knowing Jenny gives him, by accident, Jenny gives him all of the information that he really needs to look into Victor Maitland. So he goes to Maitland's office, where Zach is revealed to be Maitland's right-hand man. So Axel then presses Maitland for answers about Mikey. Maitland has his bodyguards toss Axel out through the front plate glass window of the building, and then Axel gets arrested for disturbing the peace.
This is one of my favorite fucking scenes. I love this scene so much.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Just his reaction when he gets tossed out of the window, what the fuck? The door is right there. You didn't have to toss me out of the fucking window. Just his, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Moving to him getting arrested, and then even going to the police station next.
Yeah.
And us meeting Rosewood and Taggart and having them talk to him. And he's just like, where the fuck you get off arresting somebody for getting tossed out a window?
It's so great.
So good. This interaction is fantastic too, because again, you set up what kind of cop Eddie is in this.
Yeah.
And then the static between Taggart and Axel.
Yeah.
Where, Axel gets punched in the stomach, then Taggart has to come back and apologize. They ask if he wants to press charges. And this is the most realistic thing where Axel's like, no, man, where I come from, cops don't press charges against other cops. And we know that is very true.
Fuck yes, absolutely. That's still a thing in 2022.
Yeah, for a minute, I'm like, they should have made Beverly Hills Cop 2 where Axel Foley transfers to the LAPD and becomes the black cop from Boys in the Hood with that kind of attitude.
We also get here Lieutenant Bogomil calling and speaking to Inspector Todd from back in Detroit. So he gets an idea of who Axel is and basically tells him, listen, you can't be looking into Mikey's death.
He says if you're out here investigating the Tandino murder, you needn't bother coming back.
So Jenny then bails Axel out, takes him back to the hotel as Taggart and Rosewood tail them. And Axel orders food to be sent down to them as he puts bananas in their tailpipe and takes off while their car stalls out.
Another classic scene. The banana in the tailpipe.
Another classic scene, another classic line coming up. Like, as soon as it happens, I'm like, oh, now I'm excited and giddy for that next scene to come up a little bit later. Axel and Jenny then sneak into one of Maitland's warehouses where they see two of his men removing bearer bonds from this crate. Axel sees some coffee grounds around some of the crates, so he's automatically thinking drugs. Axel then has Jenny follow the two men to this loading dock where he sneaks in and pretends to be a customs inspector so he can see the information on the crate that these guys are lugging around. I hate like tongue kissing this movie, but it's like, it is what it is. And it's like, he has everybody doing his bidding in every scene, depending on who he tries to pretend to be.
And it's funny. Again, this is one of those scenes we've talked about before where just looking at it from the outside, it's like, oh, it's funny because he's a cop and he doesn't have a warrant, so he's getting around things.
Yeah.
But really, like, this is, again, showcasing his intelligence and using his past for his current job. Because he's not just saying, you know, like, tell me about this shipping code and tell me what this means. He knows exactly what he's looking for. The coffee grounds lead him to, well, now I need to know about this. What about, you know, I need the manifest for this. Where did it go? Where did it come from? Who put it on the plane? He's getting the full picture, not just like, oh, coffee grounds, cocaine. I did a drug bust. He's going the whole route, putting a case together through this. Yeah. And that's what is so brilliant, not only in the writing here, but having a guy like Eddie Murphy being able to play this role. Yeah. Because he's able to simultaneously demonstrate that while making you piss your pants laughing at the ridiculousness of the scene and him making all these like nerds fucking like, oh, that's not my BMW, sir. I have no idea whose it is.
Yes. Which it then goes from that to, and now, because obviously we know who Axel is and he's a good cop and he's smart. And now it's time to show like he can actually do the job of being a cop and be serious about his job when he takes Taggart and Rosewood to the strip club, which again is another fantastic scene.
I personally like the one in part 2 better.
Yes. Yeah.
When he tells the people they're the Rosewood and Taggart or Gerald Ford, or that Taggart's Gerald Ford. Fucking hilarious.
That is a brilliant scene.
Done that with so many of my friends that moderately look like somebody.
So they end up at the strip club where Axel notices two men entering the club wearing trench coats. When the men try to rob the place, Axel and Taggart successfully disarm the robbers, showing that Axel's really good at his job of being a cop, is being serious. He also lets Taggart know here that he's not fuck around time all the time.
Right.
No bullshit this time.
I told you before we recorded this was going to be one of the shortest we've ever done, just because guys, we love it when you request awesome movies for us to review. There's just not much to say because they're fucking awesome.
Yes. The next scene, you get Bogomil assigning Foster and McCabe to trail Axel because, you know, Taggart and Rosewood can't do their jobs. And literally the only scene that matters with Foster and McCabe is the banana in the tailpipe scene.
That is why they exist.
Yes. We get Axel stalking, you know, Victor Maitland's house. They come up and they're having the little back and forth. And you obviously have Axel like, we're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
We're not going to fall for a banana in the tailpipe.
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe?
There's nothing that needs to be said about that scene that hasn't been said a million times before. Like,
no, I mean, that phrase has almost become like an American idiom. You know what I mean?
Really
like
has. It really
you
has.
could just tell somebody, I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe, and they know exactly what you were saying.
Exactly. We also get the country club scene of Axel going to the country club to basically accost Victor Maitland again.
A brilliant scene.
Yes.
Is him getting into the club by telling them that he has herpes simplex 10 and needs to tell Victor himself.
Yes.
Amazing. And this is a good lesson. I know I haven't given a PSA, so I'm giving off a Howard the Duck air to this review, which polar opposites.
Yes.
So I'll do this.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, kids. Uncle Corey. If you need to sneak into somewhere where you don't belong, do what Axel does here and create a situation that is so uncomfortable.
Yes.
And so to whomever your audience is going to be, that they have to let you in. There's no way this maitre d' is walking up to a member of this club to tell them that Axel is there because he needs to let him know that he has herpes simplex 10.
Yes.
That ain't happening ever. That guy is 100% of the time going, no, go ahead, man. You can tell him that shit.
Yep.
And then he's running off to tell his work buddies outside smoking a cigarette, yo, did you hear Victor Maitland got herpes? Nasty motherfucker.
But we get Axel flipping Zach over the buffet here, and we get him basically just telling Victor, like, listen, I know you're a dirty son of a bitch, and I'm basically going to kill you at some point in this movie.
He straight tells him, I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. I love that, like, because you have the scene for the first time where he's super serious with Taggart in the strip club, where he's like, no bullshit this time, we're on it. Yeah. But this scene where he's getting arrested and is just dead-eyeing this motherfucker, you, like, if you've ever had somebody give you those dead eyes, you know what that means. Like, again, to quote Armando here, fuck around time is over. I'm coming for you. Yeah. And that's all he's saying here with his eyes. And it's a credit to Eddie Murphy, because Eddie Murphy on camera looks to weigh about the same size I do. And guys that are typically the same size as me aren't the guys that's like, oh no, he gave me a dead eye, I need to leave town. We're the guys like, okay, you're going to get me, huh? But somehow with Eddie and like that look, you buy it. He is not dicking around with this guy.
Yeah.
And you believe it.
And the size is one, but a lot of comedic actors fail to do what Eddie does in these scenes, which is you could be the funny guy, but to switch gears from being the funny clown honk honk guy, banana in the tailpipe, to I'm going to fuck you up and mean it and have it like to the viewer go, oh, he means that shit. Like, this isn't going to end well for you, buddy. Just like, you know what I mean? It's hard as a comedic actor to switch literally like midstream. You were just at the maitre d' talking about herpes, and now you're sitting down like, dude, I'm going to fucking see what I did to your boy there. I just flipped him over to the buffet. It's coming a lot worse. Like, that transition is beautiful. And he does it flawlessly. Axel gets arrested here, and then back at the police station, we have Chief Hubbard orders Axel to leave Beverly Hills. Bogomil tells Rosewood to escort Axel, to the city limits and let him go. And Axel mentions to Rosewood on the way to the city limits that Maitland has another shipment coming in. Rosewood takes him to see Jenny at the art gallery, and they all go to the warehouse where said shipment of drugs is coming in. And I have quick don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, fucking cops. Okay, listen, I know Eddie Murphy's a great cop. Axel Foley's a great cop. Rosewood is a young, unexperienced cop, but he ends up being a good cop. Like, he's a good cop. But you're all a bunch of assholes. How many times do we have to say, don't let the person who's not in law enforcement tag along? Why? Because she went, I'm not giving you these keys unless I can come along. Her office is at the top of those stairs. A quick push will get her to a hospital, you steal the keys, and then you go do your thing. Push her down the stairs. What are you doing? And she's like, if you're gonna let him, whoever it is, along, you know, the fucking Scooby gang along with you on the stakeout or whatever the hell, how about this? Hey, you got some high heels on. How about you put some fucking Skechers on or something? Go get some sneakers, because we're probably gonna have to run at some point.
That was more my beef with it. Like, I'm used to at this point. That's just like, I'm coming along, because it's always the white woman that wants to do it too. So it's just like, I'm used to it by now. If there's a white woman who's the best friend with the cop, she's coming along to make the arrest with everybody. Out of my way! Citizen's arrest.
Citizen's arrest.
So I get it, and I'm used to it, but that was like, you are going into, you know, take down the drug shipment. Like, this is it. You know what I mean? We're coming for you. This is my last chance. We are breaking this thing wide open.
Yeah.
Put on some fucking long pants. Put on some fucking sneakers.
Yes.
And like, put on a sports bra, and let's go into this thing. Like, you know, we're meeting the expectations as to what event we are going into. Yes. I don't wear my Kentucky Derby hat to an NFL football game. That's just me. I dress like I'm going to an NFL football game. Jenny needs to dress like she is going to the action event instead of the fucking club.
I don't know that I've necessarily said this before, but I'm going to say it now. Okay.
You don't like my hat?
If you're going to come at me, come with bad intentions. Like, if you mean it, I want to come with you on this thing. Well, you need to you got some like Nike running pants or some athletic gear you could put on, because you're literally in a dress.
Yeah, you need to snap into some Lululemons, bitch, because this ain't happening.
So all three of them get to the warehouse. Axel and Jenny go into said warehouse, where they're met by Victor Maitland, Zach, and their like crew of goons. And Jenny gets taken hostage by Victor Maitland, and Axel is left there so that they can rough him up and kill him. But Rosewood comes in, saves the day, starts shooting, and they get away. Him and Axel get away.
How many times do we got to say it, dude? Don't play with your food. You got the guy there. You got a gun to his head. The trigger's cocked. You have to fucking flinch your finger, and it's over.
That's it.
Movie's done.
Yep.
And you still want to talk to him? I've gotten the better of you, Axel. I hope you realize, my little friend, that I am Victor Maitland. Stop talking and shoot the fucking guy.
Okay, here's another thing for you, too.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, bad guys out there. Why are you always showing up at the thing? Don't show up at the thing. The reason you've been this, like, you know, art dealer, world-renowned, drug smuggling, whatever the fuck, where everything's hidden for the last 10 or 15 years, however long they said he's been doing it, is because you sit in your ivory tower and you just play chess. This guy goes here, go murder this guy. It's not like he flew from Beverly Hills to Detroit to go kill Mikey. What the fuck are you doing here? So don't play with your food. And as a bad guy, don't show up to the thing where they do the thing and kill the guy. Or don't kill the guy in this scenario.
Right.
But just stop it. Go sit in your office and let all your goons do your shit.
Yeah, what's the point of having a right-hand guy follow you around everywhere if he can never be tasked with an assignment?
Exactly.
Delegate, bitch.
Axel, Rosewood, and Taggart finally get to Victor Maitland's property and his home. They sneak onto the property, but they're pinned down by gunfire from Maitland's men. Bogomil then finds out that everyone is gone, along with getting a shots fired call from Victor Maitland's address.
Yeah, so, and I love this scene too, where they're playing the music and it's, you know, the do-do-do-do-do, and Taggart's trying to get up on the wall and they're like doing the boost, and then he's up on his shoulders and they're falling down and ha ha ha. And then he finally gets up there, and the second that music cuts, fucking they spray that whole balcony area.
Yeah.
Awesome scene to just ha ha ha. Now we're done. Action.
Yes.
I loved that transition. It was so smooth and so clean. And just it actually took you a little bit like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you weren't ready for it.
Yeah, they do a really smooth transition through all the comedic scenes because it does get a little bit more serious here, but you still have like Rosewood up there with Taggart, and he's doing the like pulling out the badge.
I love that part.
And talking about Butch Cassidy and those cuts between like those two, and then Axel in the house looking for Jenny and Victor, and it's done so seamlessly.
Yeah.
To where it's comedy now, and now it's serious time, action time, and now it's done fantastically. But we cut to Axel inside the mansion looking for Jenny. We get the cat and mouse with Zach and Axel because they've been going back and forth throughout this movie. And Axel finally kills Zach.
Axel pulls a Corey here playing Call of Duty. Because he's just like, there's a guy following me. There's a guy following me. Hide in the corner and wait. Gotcha.
And then
that is literally my Call of Duty career. Yeah, 2 kills, 26 deaths.
And then stands over him like Michael Myers to admire his work, and then gets shot by Maitland.
And this I give a little bit of leeway to because he was the guy that killed Mikey.
Yeah.
So that had to be a little more, personal and had to feel a little bit different. So totally get that. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, you're not done yet.
Yeah.
There's still more people with boomila boomila. You need to turn around and get back to work, dude.
Exactly. So Maitland here is at the end of the hallway. He has Jenny as a hostage. He shoots at Axel. Jenny hits him. Axel and Bogomil fire back, and they hit Maitland with an unprecedented amount of bullets.
Not for the LAPD.
Or tell us something we don't know, motherfucker.
Like, I'm trying to remember a movie where, especially a goddamn comedy, where, so, we get to the end, bang, bang, bang. It's typically 1-2 shots, dude's dead. This, I think, would qualify as going down in a hail of bullets.
He got fucked up. They lit homeboy up.
Eddie wasn't lying. He fucked him up at the end of this.
No, he really did. And it's fantastic. And this is what I miss from these cop comedy movies, is this violence, is that extra bit. Like, it's a comedy action movie.
Yes.
Put some fucking action into it. It doesn't have to be The Predator. It's not RoboCop, but something.
Yeah.
And that's just all but went away. No, I love this ending here. And Victor met the demise he should have. It wasn't like I'm falling and I can walk away with my conscience clear because I'm a cop and didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
Fuck you. This is a revenge fucking movie. Let's kill some people, bitch.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
It was unapologetic in that way, and that's what I really liked about it.
Yep.
And you get to end this movie, they're outside the mansion. You get all the cops basically in California that are at, Victor Maitland's house now. And Rosewood gets hard because he gets to arrest people here. Chief Hubbard shows up. He wants answers. Bogomil makes up a story, which Taggart confirms, which is the callback to earlier in the movie. And then it cuts to that night, Axel checking out of the hotel and thanks Taggart and Rosewood. He then tells him to follow him to a place near the city limits because he knows they're going to tail him for drinks. And the movie ends as it should, with a still of Eddie Murphy and the eyes, like just the face that he makes at the end. It's just like, if you want a kind of a shorter review of this movie, just look at the still, and that's this movie in a nutshell. It's just Eddie Murphy doing funny shit.
Pretty much. Now this, movie's perfect. As far as what an action comedy is, this movie is damn near perfect. Yeah. I personally, my own tastes, I like Beverly Hills Cop 2 a little bit better. simply because it's a tighter. It's basically a remake of this, just tighter.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
They knew what they had in
like,
Eddie. They knew what they had with the script. They knew what they had with this franchise. So
yes.
they were able to just tighten up all the jokes and right down the fairway. Which
100% agree.
It.
The bad guys were better.
Yep.
Like the action scenes were better. I'm assuming, I haven't looked it up, but I'm assuming the budget was higher.
Oh,
it had to have been with all the damn like explosions and everything that was shot in that film. I would agree with you that I do like the second one better, but the first one, it's flawless.
No, it doesn't get the respect it deserves simply because so many other movies have followed it, because part 2 was a lot more likable for a broader audience, I think.
Yes.
It wasn't as raw, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and Eddie has had so many other movies that are so fucking good.
Yeah.
That, you know, this one kind of tends to fall down a little bit of a unfortunate well where it doesn't deserve to be. This is a brilliant movie. Everybody in it did a great job. I mean, I got into this with somebody on Twitter about stand-up comedians. Eddie Murphy is on my Mount Rushmore of stand-up comedians. Period.
Yes.
I don't give a fuck who else you want to put up there. It's none of my business. But don't come at me with Eddie Murphy, because Beverly Hills Cop is where I'll start with comedians transitioning into movies, and you will
100%.
immediately lose. So
no, absolutely. And the funny thing is, like with this movie, it's so very dated, from the cop cars to the clothing just everything is super dated about it. And a lot of times that for me anyway, mentally, as I'm viewing it, takes away from the movie. The how dated this is in zero way takes away from this movie. Like it doesn't take away from the movie at all. It's just a thing that is on camera. Like,
I'll tell you what, the only real big, like 80, there's two real big, like 80s clothing moments. And one is where Victor Maitland's wearing a fucking kimono instead of a suit jacket. But two, every outfit Jenny Summers is in. However, Jenny Summers wears the shit out them outfits. She is one of the few people I've seen look fantastic in 80s outfits.
Yep. No, absolutely. And I mean, literally everything that Eddie Murphy wears, which is basically his sweatshirt.
I wear that to this day, so.
His sweatshirt and tight jeans and like the old fucking Nikes or Adidas or whatever the hell he's wearing.
Yeah, he's wearing Adidas that I still own. I like literally that's how I dress to this day. So I just don't even fuck with that part of it.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot. It's serious.
Well, we'll end on that note because I've already made fun of things that you wear, so it's all right. I don't need to go there anymore.
Cue the Charlie Brown music as we leave this set.
Well, do you have anything else for Beverly Hills Cop?
No, you've deflated me enough this episode. So
I hit my goal today, so we're good. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1984's Beverly Hills Cop.